take too long. Oops, slightly overcast here today, which is not at all surprising considering we are in the United Kingdom, so the fact that it's cloudy is quite natural to see. Now, the Open Series stream is up, both Tier 1 and Tier 2, I think. There's a League Series there. So the stream's up, the chat's up. And the audio is working as it should. Fantastic. Hello everyone and welcome to round 4 of the PlayStation Pacific Elite Championship here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Lane Everingham, your commentator for this event, and this time we're racing at Silverstone Grand Prix circuit for the British Grand Prix. This former RAF airfield used during the Second World War over a 70-plus year span has turned itself into one of the most prestigious and well-recognized racing facilities in the world. The layout has changed quite significantly over its lifetime, but its reputation of being one of the greatest challenges on any motorsport calendar hasn't. That reputation, that challenge, is shared in the real world and in the virtual world. The current 5.89 kilometre 18-turn layout has 2 major overtaking spots with the help of DRS down the Wellington and Hangar Straights that lead into Brooklands Turn 6 and Stowe's Turn 15. Both are quite high-speed sweepers, so when overtaking there's a very fine margin for error. We might see some battling into Turn 3, the hairpin of Turn 3, that is Village, and Turn 4's The Loop, as well as the chicane of Vale that Chip is coming up to now, Turn 16 and 17. But the great challenge lies within the middle sector. After Turn 7's left-field drivers will be subjected to a set of near flat-out bends, all one after another. Copse, Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel. All these corners have written themselves into the history books as places of raw skill, action, drama and tragedy. Even some fairly recent history in 2021 with a famous collision between 2 modern greats. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. In summary, Silverstone might be a circuit we all know, but it's not one to be driven easily or without respect. Let's see if the drivers are up to the challenge tonight. Now, before we focus on qualifying, there is quite a bit of news to go through first from last week's race over in Canada, because my goodness, there was a lot of drama throughout that race, and as a result, there was a lot of stewards' reports. First of which, to get through, involving Alex Pato and VPV8. We famously caught it on stream. We have a Mercedes off at turn 2. Is that Pump? No, it's his teammate Bags. He's rejoining the racetrack now. Yes, we saw those two come together at the exit of turn 2, and the stewards have found BP at fault, and they gave him 15 seconds plus 3 penalty points for violating Rule 3.1.2 of the Race Spec Racing rules. This will move BPV8 from P6 to P9, I believe, in the final result. Next stewards report involves ACW and Ferrari Pro, the two colliding at some point during the race. Ferrari Pro was found to be at fault of a minor collision, and as a result he was only given 1 penalty point, so Ferrari Pro still wins the race at Montreal. Next one involves Roscoe, where he had a desync issue. He was put right at the bottom of the table for the majority of the race as Keegdoog almost loses it at the exit of the loop. Turn 4, fortunately he caught it. Josh is getting off the racetrack trying to give way to other drivers. Josh getting ready here. ACW coming towards the end of a flying lap. But yes, Roscoe was having an issue involving his timing. And the steward's verdict is ultimately dictated by, how can I put it? He didn't correctly film or record his race director, and as a result, the stewards themselves couldn't correctly determine where he actually finished. So as a result, from them anyway, He was going to finish in 12th place, which wasn't correct. Fortunately for Roscoe, Plevs, who is the league coordinator, and Mr. Bossman, Mr. Race Spec himself, he worked out that Roscoe finished P5 in the final results without all the DC problems. And that's where he's classified on the points table as well, in 5th place at Canada. So the stewards say one thing, but Mr. Bossman says another. So, I don't know. Judge from that as you will. The final report involves Plevs and Hillez with a collision at turn 3 that we didn't directly see, but we saw the end of it. And as a result, Hillez was given a 10-second time penalty and 2 penalty points because of the collision. That will move Hillez from P4 to P5 in the final results. Looking at the Drivers' Championship, ACW is leading on 73, followed by Ferrari Pro on 57. Plevs is third on 49, followed by Pump on 42. BP in 5th on 39, followed by Silverfort on 38. Roscoe on 36. Alex Pato on 32. Hillez on 25. And Powersight rounds out the top 10 on 22. In the Constructors, Alfa Romeo are leading on 109, followed by McLaren on 81. Ferrari are next on 72. P4 is Mercedes on 60, followed by Aston Martin and Red Bull tied on points currently. So they're equal 6th, I suppose. Then Haas on 39, AlphaTauri on 23, Alpine on 14, and Williams with a fat 0 next to their name. And the final bit of news, yes, we're not done yet. The final bit of news is 4 new full-time drivers. So see if I can find them here. The first 2 are CBF Chip and CBF Rude. And I don't think Rude is here looking at the table. He is not. They're both in the Williams mobiles. We've got Metz in the Alpine. He's currently P8 in the pit lane. And Average Only in the Haas, who was also in the pit lane. We also have a new reserve driver, Trikid. So we're filling up the field, which is fantastic. And we've got a field of 19 cars, which is excellent to see. So that's pretty much all the news now, out of the way. So we can now fully focus on this qualifying session, which hopefully will be quite close. Being a track that everybody is fairly familiar with, a lot of people know how much pace they can extract out of the track and from their car's setup. So I imagine qualifying will be fairly close. Top 2 are currently separated by just under 0.3 of a second as Ferrari Pro exits the final corner, crosses the line and jumps to P2, missing out on pole position by 0.06 of a second. Alex Pato here getting ready to set a flying lap. Bags in the middle of one. He's coming out of Luffield, turn 7, around Woodcote, turn 8, onto the old pit straight before this new layout change that was made back in 2010, 2011. I think it was 2010 they made this layout change. Coming through Beckett's around Chapel. Open DRS down the hangar straight, heading towards Stowe. It's not a bad overtaking spot, the right-hander of Stowe, but you need to be incredibly committed. Brakes nicely. Gets around there pretty well. Down towards the Vale chicane, this fast left-right. Now he'll have to tackle the final corner of Club. Keeps it pinned, crosses the line, jumps up to P3 with a 27.223. Alex here, properly getting ready. Tell you what, we're right on board with the Italian. We'll give you a proper tour of this 5.9 kilometre 18-turn circuit. So he's coming through Vale. Important that you get a good exit out of here, so you can keep it flat around Club, maximise straight line speed down the Hamilton Straight to begin the lap. Into the right-hander of Abbey. It's a very tricky right-hander. Very easy to get him wrong through turn 2, into the hairpin of Village, turn 3, third gear, then into the loop, turn 4, brings it down to second. Uses the inside curve nicely. Doesn't use any of the outside curve, doesn't need to. Exiting Aintree down the Wellington Straight towards Brooklands, turn 6. Brings it down to 5th gear, 4th gear. Now into Luffield, turn 7. He hugs that inside line nice and neatly. He'll use all the curve on the exit, exiting in 4th gear. Round Woodcote, using all of that Bit of tarmac on the inside there of Woodcote. Around Copse Corner, where we famously saw Hamilton and Verstappen come together last year. Down towards the famous Maggots and Beckett's complex. It's very much on edge through here. You really do have to chuck it in. Now he's got the left-hander of Chapel to go through, using a bit of grass on the inside there because magically that has grip. Down the hanger straight towards Stone. Coming up towards the right-hander at 320 kilometers an hour. Brings it down to 5th gear at about 210. Uses all the curve necessary on the exit. Through the Vale chicane. Turns 16 and 17. Around the final corner, turn 18. Crossing the line and jumps up to P3. And that's on the medium compound tyre. That's a pretty solid effort there from Alex. As Ferrari Pro crosses the line to jump up to pole position with a 1 minute 26.797. ACW, he's just gone dead even to the first sector, according to the timer in the top right. Through the famous S's here. Brings it down to 7th gear, then down to 5th gear. Through Chapel, keeping it flat. He's up by just over 1/10 of a second in the middle sector. Heading up towards Stowe. Entering in at 318, about 2 kilometers an hour slower compared to Alex. His power side just in front. He's on the racing line. That is not very intelligent driving there from power side. He was sort of caught out, I think. I'm not sure if he knew ACW was there or just, I'm not sure. Because it looked like he was going to move out of the way, but he moved further onto the racing line instead of moving to the left. Very strange. But still ACW improved by about half a tenth, which is solid enough considering what happened. Clev starting a flying lap, making his way through the opening S's. That's a Red Bull off the circuit. Who's that? That's G4 Zach, I think, off the racetrack. Through Village, then the loop, turn 4. 2nd gear, short shifting to 3rd on the exit. And around Aintree, turn 5, and onto the Wellington Straight. Down towards Brooklands. The first sector says he's up by 0.07 of a second. And around Luffield. Get on the power, nice and easy. Use all the necessary curve. Around Woodcote, onto the old pit straight. Heading towards Copse Corner. Now, ideally, you want to keep it flat. And Plebs most certainly does that, but he loses it. Oh, what a fantastic catch. The backhand just went from him. Took very sharp reactions in order to gather that up, but that was fantastic from Plebs. Tinselman's coming through the pit lane at very slow speed because the pit lane is awfully slow at Silverstone. Taken at only 60 kilometers an hour, or in Queen's English, it's 37 miles an hour. For a sec, I think he's going back into the pits. Black Moon appears to be completing a flying lap. Through the Vale chicane, short shifting there to find traction, short shifting again, trying to keep the back end in check. He'll cross the line to jump up to P15 with a 1 minute 28.110, setting the exact same lap time as G4 Zach here in 16th place. You can see currently everyone on track, the whole field separated by 3 seconds, top 10 separated by 0.8 of a second, so pretty close, you'd have to say. Silverfork getting ready, BP getting ready as well. He's on the medium compound tyre compared to Silverfort on the softs. See who's done what times on what tyre. So only Alex, the only driver inside the top 10 who has set a time on the medium. Andre has done the same thing as well, but he's down in 18th place. So BP's going to try and better his own lap time on the mediums. Best of luck to him. And here comes Silverfort to begin a flying lap. Hello chat, hello Ferrari Pro. So dry for the race as well, that's good to hear. Hello KD and hello Banana here. Moving 3 drivers into elite tier. Oh well, it makes it look nicer with a fuller field, which is awfully nice. Coming out to turn 2, around the hairpin of turn 3, brings it down to 3rd gear. Then into the loop, turn 4, using 1st gear to find the rotation. Then short shifting to keep the back end in check. Exiting Aintree down the Wellington Straight, he has DRS wide open. Reaching top gear, he crosses the first sector split, he's up by half a tenth of a second. Yellow flags in the first sector as a Haas is getting out of the way. I think that's average only. Exiting Luffield, turn 7, he now heads down the old pit straight towards Copse Corner. And we saw Plebs try to take this turn flat. What about Silverford? Will he try? Oh, a hint of a lift. Maybe going down to about 90% throttle, I'd say. As I think BP has made a mistake. He has, at the exit of turn 7. Through the middle sector comes Silverford, exiting Chapel. Middle sector says he's up by 3.5 tenths. That's a really healthy improvement. Down the hanger straight towards Stone, brings it down to 5th gear, then short shift to 6th. Down towards the Vale chicane, brings it down to 3rd gear. Keeping nice and tidy, using all the curve he can. Around Club Corner, back onto the Hamilton Straight. He improves by 4 tenths to jump up to P4 with a 1 minute 27.156. But with just over 2 minutes left in qualifying, getting towards the business end of this session, Alex, ACW and Ferrari Pro are getting ready to set their final flying laps. Meanwhile, Tinselman, he's on his. He's coming around Luffield, turn 7. And the power as early as he dares. Fairly tidy exit there from the Alpine driver. Pump is doing the same. Comparatively speaking, I think Tinselman got on the power, full throttle power, a bit earlier compared to Tinselman, I'm not sure. Migrating host, Plebs has left the session, has he? He has. What has happened? As Tinselman invalidates this flying lap, so he'll back off, try and set another. Meanwhile, ACW is coming through the first sector. He needs to improve by 1/10 of a second if he wants pole position. Up towards the first sector split. What does the clock say for the current championship leader? He's up by 7/100ths in the first sector. Ferrari Pro exits Aintree. Down the Wellington Straight he goes. The Montreal winner, can he improve in the first sector? He does, but only by a little bit, by 0.003 of a second. ACW exits Woodcote. He's heading towards Copse Corner. Entering at 300 kilometers an hour. He keeps it pinned. Look at that. 100% throttle all the way round. Through Maggot. Beckett. Keeping it nice and tidy. Not invalidating his lap. Around Chapel. He'll open DRS. The middle sector he's... I don't think he's improved actually to the middle sector. I think he's lost a little bit of time as Ferrari Pro bows out of the lap. So Ferrari Pro cannot improve on that personal best of his. It's down to ACW to try and take pole away from the Ferrari driver. Through Vale in 3rd gear. He keeps it. Oh, he's short shifting to 5th now on the exit to find the traction. Crosses the line and takes pole position away with a 26.557. Beating Ferrari Pro by 2.5 tenths, just under 2.5 tenths. Pump has invalidated his flying lap. Same with Alex. Bags. He's pretty much even to the first sector. He's coming around, to the middle sector. Crosses the line, he improves by 0.5 tenth, but stays in P6. And I think that just might be qualifying over. Let's see here, Metz will cross the line to jump up to P13, improving by 0.6 tenths to a 27.5. Guessing we're waiting on Josh and Zach here to complete their flying laps. We can move on to the race potentially. I'm not too sure because Plebs did drop out of the session. Oh, it's Josh Spence. Oh dear. Well, there we are. I think that is qualifying over. Got ACW on pole, Ferrari Pro in 2nd place, followed by Pump, Alex, Silverford, Bags, Roscoe on Plebs, Tinselman and BP. That completes the top 10. What do you know? We do have a Red Bull and Mercedes side by side on the 3rd row. Oh, hopefully history won't repeat itself on the first lap. Cross our fingers. Yeah, I'm not sure if Plebs has rejoined the session or not. Hopefully he has and we can move on with this. Did a 360 of comps, did you? Didn't quite catch that. Unfortunately, that would have been rather entertaining. But there we are. ACW on pole, only just under 2.5 tenths separating the top two at the end of qualifying. Pump third, Alex fourth, Silverfort in fifth, Bags in sixth, Roscoe Arm in seventh, Plez eighth, Tinselman ninth, and BP rounds out the top 10 with just over 8 tenths separating the top 10. That's insanely close. Keegdoog in 11th, then Chip, Metz in 13th. That's 1 second between the top 13. Very close. Average only in 14th, and Powersight, Andre, Black Moon, GeForce Zach, and Josh Sambin will start from the back in 19th place. There we are. Now, don't think Plez has rejoined the session. Oh, so it seems that he hasn't disconnected from the session. According to the timing screen, well, Plebs wouldn't have put it on poll anyway, according to that time. He would be second, I think, at that time. Well, unfortunately, I've got bad news, everybody watching. We're going to be doing a lobby restart in just a few moments. I think everyone will get the message shortly here. Everyone's leaving. We'll duck out as well. I hate these. But it seems Plebs, who was the host, his game had a bit of an oopsie, because he was still in the session according to him. But yeah, he ducked out according to everybody else. Even I saw the migrating host thing. So, I don't know. Just another bug. Put on poll. ACW did. Alpha Romeo. Get to see this glorious Alpha. Beautiful Alpha. Oh, well, that was quick. Oh, that wasn't an invite. That was someone sending a message. Well, guess it's just you and me, Chatto, for at least a few minutes until we can get this sorted. No, this is just some new things we're finding with the game. Some of the old bugs have been fixed, and we got some new ones as a result. But good to see there's plenty of chat in the Discord. Doesn't seem too many people are upset, which is nice. You don't want angry people in the Discord. But this will help out the people inside the top 10. They'll get to start on fresher tyres compared to what they should have started on in the previous lobby. Strategy around Silverstone, if I recall, pretty simple: soft, medium, medium, soft. Trouble is with going with the alternate medium soft is if you do that, and if you lose touch with the soft runners at the front, it's very difficult to claw that time back. So that's sort of the risk you take starting on the mediums. DRS is going to play a big part in the race as well. We'll have DRS trains forming everywhere. It'll be tight. All the drivers will be close to one another, but we won't see too many overtakes within those trains, except for at the very front, of course. Hopefully this doesn't take too much longer. Gee whiz. Okay, so there still hasn't been an invite. And chat, just so you know, I might have to restart the stream if I'm unable to join the new lobby. Because if I'm unable to join, I'll have to close the app and restart a new stream. Because by closing the app, it shuts off the stream as well. Good fun. So Plebs is just restarting his net. He's just taking some precaution into setting up the lobby. He's just going to make sure that everything's a-okay before making everything. Because that's quite strange how somebody migrated host but was still in the lobby somehow on their screen. That's a new one. Very much a new one. No, I'm kind of worried about F1 2022. If this is the state that F1 2021 is in after how long? 6 months, 7 months? I hate to think what condition F1 2022 is in. I hate to think. Might as well change it up. Look at something else briefly. You can see the similarities between this and the 2022 livery, between Haas mobiles. Very similar. A lot of people criticise that, but I don't really know what people were expecting, to be honest. I mean, every brand has their own way of branding themselves. It's quite obvious that Uralkali is quite a big sponsor, quite a big investor to the Haas F1 team. So their branding basically covers the whole thing. So yeah, not at all surprised that the liveries are fairly similar. What I was intrigued to look at is just the general shape of the car. It's fascinating to see the new design, this new sleek aerodynamic design. I don't have these hideous barge. Look at that hideous looking barge board. All those fins and winglets. Looks like visually unattractive. Obviously, if you're an engineer, an aerodynamicist, that's basically pornography for you. But it's not exactly the most attractive thing to look at. I honestly don't mind it, Roscoe. It's a base white design, few stripes here and there. I mean, you could argue that some of the proportions don't really fit the new design, but I don't mind it. I don't think it's as big of a trash heap that some people may claim it to be. But I'm kind of curious to see all the other designs now that all the other teams have implemented. Because basically, are we just going to see 2021 designs on the 2022 car? Obviously, for one team, that won't be the case with Aston Martin. They got a sponsorship deal with Aramco recently. They've become the new title sponsor for Aston Martin. It seems like Cognizant has taken a bit of a back seat, so it'll be curious to see how this thing looks with its British Racing Green and with the Aramco sponsor, and how much of Aramco will actually take up the car. Obviously, we won't have these pink stripes anymore because BWT doesn't sponsor the team anymore, so yeah, it'll be very interesting to see this car with the modern design. I don't think too many other designs would be greatly different. Yeah, that's true. The actual design itself being all secretive, yeah. Speaking of secretive, news came out that the the test week at Spain, that won't be broadcasted, and I was devastated about that. Like, I understand it completely. Like, you got these new cars, you don't want cameras to point out every single itty bitty detail that every team has done during the preseason. But all the F1 fans, they want to see the new cars on track. They want to see them moving with the drivers, behind the wheel. So it's a bit sad. But yeah, we have to wait until Bahrain to see proper coverage of the cars. Of course, we'll have camera crews there and whatnot. Well, we'll wait and see Ferrari Pro with Sebastian Vettel. We'll wait and see what Aston Martin have done with the new car. Obviously, this year they took quite a big dive due to the rake regulations. Yeah, you can't watch the first test. No, you can't watch it. It's all secret. Can't watch it. See all the new rims and whatnot. You can see those new tires. Yeah, not the new cars. No. All secret. Can't see those. But a few things to look out for. Same with this team. And that number is still speculation. Even this close to pre-season testing, nobody 110% knows who's in this car. We know George Russell is in, the other Mercedes, but who's in this one? Nobody knows. It's still all up in the air after the events that took place at Abu Dhabi. I personally just don't think Hamilton just gives up. I just don't think that's in his nature. He's a racing driver, for crying out loud, They don't just quit. He'll have the fire in him, surely, to get the championship back, or try and get the championship back. Or maybe it has nothing to do with the 2021 season. Maybe it has something to do with George Russell. Who the hell knows why Hamilton hasn't really spoken out about it, or why Mercedes hasn't really said anything either. But I suppose when pre-season testing comes around, we'll finally get to know who the hell is in this car. Hello. Good to see that a few people have joined the stream. Still waiting for an invite. What else is there to talk about? Suppose we can talk about the big red team. Everybody says that this team's going to be top of the tree this year in 2022 with Carlos and Charles. Hey, I got it. Finally got one. Is this it? Toasting. Okay. Cool. But yeah, the big red team. Everyone says they're going to be at the top of the tree. But I don't know. Because Ferrari, it's a bit of a weird one with Ferrari. Sometimes they do get it right. But even when they get it right, they don't win championships. Like, it's very strange with Ferrari. But they got two very capable pilots behind the wheel. Like, Charles is a proven winner, and Carlos is consistent, just like his dad. He can drive the wheels off anything. He can beat teammates like Max Verstappen, like Nico Hülkenberg, Lando Norris, and now he beat Charles in the championship last year with Ferrari. So he can compete with many. He hasn't got a win to his name, but he's bound to get one. El Matador Jr. So if Ferrari deliver them a car that they can win races in, they'll be very, very, very competitive. But that's it. It's developing that car and also getting a bit of good luck on their side so they can win races. Ferrari had a few chances in the 2010s to win championships, but they didn't, namely 2010 and 2012. partly because in 2012 they had a bit of a rough car at the start that Fernando dragged to magical wins of his raw talent. But in both years there was a bit of bad luck. It just went their way. Who would have thought that the Great Wall of Vitali Petrov was able to hold up Fernando Alonso for as many laps as he did at Abu Dhabi? Same with the 2008 season with Felipe Massa, that's another one. The incident at Singapore, ripping out the fuel hose when it was still on the car. That moment effectively ruining any chances for Felipe. Well, not any chance, but a fairly big chance of him winning a championship. Yeah, it's a big red flag. That's all that this was. We had a virtual spectator on the racetrack, so they had to stop all the cars for 20 minutes or something. What was that? What year was it when a spectator or a protester went onto the racetrack on the hangar straight? What year was that? Was that like 03? See if I can find it. Spectator runs onto circuit Silverstone. Yeah, it was 03. Yeah, me and my big brain. he was wearing an orange skirt and waving a religious banner that stated, "Read the Bible!" Because of course that's the best way to preach Christianity, is running out onto the racetrack like an idiot with cars flying at you at 280 kilometers an hour. Yes. That's exactly how you tell people to read the Bible. Sets the perfect message to Christianity, doesn't it? He was tackled by Marshal Stephen Green. That was... Yeah, I remember that. Absolutely hooked him onto the ground. To remove Horan... What's his name? Horan is his name. Neil Horan. Oh, God. That's funny. That's amazing. Yeah, the 2000 German Grand Prix where a protester... That was before the Clark chicane, I think. And the safety car that came about from it really helped Rubens Barrichello out. Ended up taking his first Grand Prix win. It was a sterling drive from Rubens. When did he qualify? Like 16th or something. He had to do it in the spare car because Michael had a problem with his, so he used Rubens' car, and so Rubens had to use, I think, the T car, practice car, or spare car, I should say. And I think he qualified 16th, I think. But it's not as if Michael using Rubens' car helped, because who was it who crashed into him at turn 1? Was it a lazy? No. Who crashed into him at turn 1? 2000 German Grand Prix. But yes, it was an incredibly remarkable win. The first for Rubens Barrichello after many, many years of trying. 18th he started, so lower than I thought. Come back from 18th to win. That's a mega effort. Race. Giancarlo Fisichella. That's who it was. Giancarlo Fisichella. And Michael, they collided At the, I think it's the Nordkurve, turn 1. That went off. I think, was that the last year they ran Old Hockenheim? I think that might have been the last race at the Old Hockenheim. Or was it 2002? And they decided to change it. Let's see. No, 02 was on the remodified circuit. 2001. ...2001 was the last race on Old Hockenheim. Quite the ferocious racetrack, Old Hockenheim. You want a comparison, think of Monza. But more dangerous. It's basically straight Nordkurve, straight Clark chicane, straight Osh chicane I think is next, and another straight. I think the Senna chicane I think is the third one. Then another straight, then they're into the arena section. That's still there. Man, I wish Hockenheim was back on the calendar. Hockenheim is such a cool racetrack. I know a fair few people, they're not avid supporters of the newer Hockenheim compared to the older one. The newer one was obviously redesigned by the Lord and Saviour himself, Herman Tilke. He wanted to include more of the old racetrack. He wanted the track to go up as far as the Clark chicane. But unfortunately, Hockenheim ran out of money. And if they were to go that far, they would have to take care of the majority of the forest that's outside of the racetrack now. And they just couldn't afford that. So they basically cut that off, and the circuit became what it is today. And it's still a great racetrack. Still a fantastic racetrack. I hope one day we get to come back to it. Now, all the chatter out of the way, we can now focus on the race. Or rather, the formation lap, whenever it begins. As Average Only has rejoined the session. There we are. So, now going to set off on our formation lap. Or not. Or are we? Or not? What's going on? I'm guessing we're having a lobby reset, are we? A second one? Go start the formation lap. Get DSQ, then retire, but stay in the lobby. So somebody left and rejoined, I'm guessing. Well. What everyone's trying to do is get disqualified, so then they can restart everything. Plebs has left the session. I thought I was done with all the rubbish talk. All the fill. No! So, I'll try and explain as best I can what the drivers are trying to do. They've been instructed to disqualify themselves, so then we can quickly get this race done, get up a new lobby, or rather, stay in the same lobby and start up a new race. That's the best way of putting it. That's what everyone here, hopefully, is trying to do. But people are joining and leaving the session willy-nilly. Rewind the stream, KD, I explained it. Long story short, lobby is screwed, so... Well, not exactly the lobby. Oh, well, it is the lobby. But what they're trying to do, instead of starting a new one, they're going to try and get everyone to retire off the start, so we can start a new race with everyone joined. Okay. So, what we'll see everyone retire just after the start, and then we can get everything else sorted. And 1, 2, 3, everybody crash. Let's go. Let's not waste any time, please. Yay! Off they go. Oh, well, Matt, you've done a great job crashing there. You missed everything. Silver 4 disqualified. Andre's car, I think it's in AI mode here. Same with average only. And plebs. Come on. Let's retire the car. Thank you. Andre, average only. Come on, BT. Stop mucking around. Let's go. Well, that's it. Race done. Oh, this is going to be a long stream, isn't it? A bit of dinner's going to have to wait for me for a little while. Now, here's the next trouble. If we don't move from this screen, we will have to restart the lobby. In which case, we would have wasted about 5, maybe 7 minutes. You can see there at the top of the screen, there's no timer. No, you know what that means? We're stuck on this screen. That's what that means. Hopefully a timer pops up soon. Oh goody! There it is. Maybe we don't have to reset the lobby. Where were we, Chan? Before this? I think it was a 2000 German Grand Prix. To think it took Rubens quite a few years in order to get that first race win. I think it took him like 8, maybe 9 years to get his first Grand Prix win. And it was an incredibly emotional moment for Rubens. You could see him on the podium holding a Brazilian flag, waving it to the crowd. He was absolutely in tears. Crocodile tears just rushing down his face. But what's with the 2 new messages? Seems that we're starting a new lobby. Are you kidding? We're just wasting time at this point. Whatever. Yeah, made his debut in 1993. It took him until 2000 to win his first, so yeah, 8 years. Man, my guesswork's been pretty on point when it comes to my historical knowledge of F1. Don't need apologies now, we need to just get this thing done. Meanwhile, chat, there is Open Series on right now, Tier 1 to be precise. And Tier 2, I think? Yep, Tier 2 it's on as well. Would recommend watching those. I would anyway. as races would hopefully be going, and hopefully they were good races too. Rather amazingly, I haven't had the need to restart the stream. Typically when we cut in and out of lobbies so much, there's a fairly high chance that you're unable to connect to a new lobby. It seems that that bug has been fixed. Great. Got studied. Elliot. Any particular type of study? Any particular subject? Curiosity? I wasn't a big studier myself. I often just tried to learn what I needed to learn in class straight away and didn't bother doing too much stuff at home. Hated doing homework and stuff. Well, 19. I'm guessing Pledge is just making the custom here. Yeah, I'm not the only one for Iceland. I think it's been an hour since the stream started. A bit less than an hour. We haven't even started the race. I can't wait for F1 2022. It's either going to be a reprieve from all this stuff that we've had to put up with, or it's going to be doubly worse. All we have to do is just laugh at the game. To see how much of a joke it will become. Tinselwinsel, that is the greatest username I've seen tonight. Tinselwinsel. But no, those three letters rather perfectly describe this. Just rip. But no, it'll be interesting to see those who actually watch the stream all the way through. Listen to my ramblings for about half an hour before the race actually starts. Talked about this year with the new regulations. Talked about the red flag that happened back here in 2003, which led to the 2000 German Grand Prix in Rubens Barrichello. Amazing the journey we take. Oh look, we have 18 drivers ready, except for Josh. Would you mind, Josh, just pressing X and cut out a few seconds? Oh no? Oh, I like the timer too, we can let it run there. Nice, 3 Lovely. Britain. Race. Are we allowed to race, Cody's? It says race on the screen. Will we be allowed to race? That's the question. We shouldn't have any wet weather conditions, so get rid of the wet, dry braking distances. We don't need those. Useless information for a dry weather race. Useless. Leaderboards there. Everybody's loading in, taking its time. It's alright. We've used up a fair bit of time already. Might as well use up a bit more. It's alright. There's a timer, and there's a leaderboard disappearing. Screen goes to black, and then screen pops back again. See the cloud cover? It's light overcast conditions, so we shouldn't see any rain. We shouldn't, but it's a Codemasters game, so who knows? Now, any driver who is watching this, remember 2 things. 1, put on a setup. insanely important that you put on a setup. If you don't, you will be slow. You will be very slow. And it will be very unfun for you for however long you last during the race. 2. Everyone who started inside the top 10, or qualified inside the top 10, I should say, you need to start on the tyres you qualified on. If you don't, you'll get a big slap on the wrist by the stewards. And by big, I mean a disqualification. So, that's my only warning to anyone who is still watching this. Right. 19 cars are loaded in, lined up, and we're on a formation lap. Fantastic. Look at that track. They're moving, chat. The cars, they are moving in a sensible fashion. Insane, unbelievable scenes. Let's run through the order as it is. Complete order. So, we have ACW on pole position. He's starting on the soft compound tyre. We have Plebs in P2. After he set a time we were unaware of. He's on the front row. Ferrari Pro P3, followed by Pump on P4. Both drivers starting on the soft tyre. Alex Pato, P5, the only driver inside the top 10, starting on the medium. Silverstone, P6. Bags in 7th. Roscoe Arm in 8th. Tinselman 9th. And BPV8 rounds out the top 10. Key Dude in 11th place is starting on the soft tyres. Same with Chip in P12. Metz is the first driver outside the top 10, starting on the mediums in 13th place. Average Only is the last driver to start on the soft tyre in 14th place. Power Sight in the AlphaTauri starting 15th on the medium. Same with his teammate Andre, who starts behind in P16. Black Moon in 17th place is starting on the mediums. Same with G4 Zach in P18. And Josh Sandburn starting from the back of the field in 19th place. He's also on the medium tyre. So we have 7 drivers on the mediums. That tallies up to 12 drivers on the softs. So a fairly even mix in terms of strategy. There's the pit stop window, lap 11 to 14. Ram those numbers inside your skull, chat. 11 to 14. That will change if there are any safety car interventions, of course. But as of now, if it remains green from here to the checkered flag, which I pray it does, the pit window is lap 11 to 14. Everyone's lining up onto the grid now to get this race underway. There, look, chat, I'm even writing it down myself. Soft to medium, lap 11 to 14. That means at lap 14 or so, that's when the medium runners will come in to pit onto the soft tyre. Maybe lap 15. So remember that. Josh is lined up, ready to race. So is all other 18 cars in the field. Here we go. Finally, we have 10 red lights. And we are underway here in Silverstone. ACW gets a great launch off the line, but Plebs is trying to challenge into turn 1. Through the opening right hand we go. Into turn 2. Plebs trying to fight. Down the inside into turn 3. He sends it deep, but ACW carries the speed into the hairpin. He gives himself the inside line for turn 4. He's desperately trying to hang on, but Plebs has to relinquish. He's down to P2. Ferrari Pro just behind him, P3. Pump up to P4. Someone has fallen down through the order, I think. I'm not quite sure who. Maybe Alex, as Ferrari Pro tries to look down the inside of Plebs. Can't do it there. Through Luffield. Now, turn 7. BP, Silverford, side by side. Or maybe a bit of contact, I'm not sure. Maybe a bit more there on the exit as Alex Pato draws alongside the Singaporean. Around Woodcote, heading down the old pit straight. Towards Cops Corner we go. They all go single file. Look at them fly through the right-hander. Drivers running wide. Hopefully they don't get warnings for that. It's the opening lap for crying out loud. Be merciful on them, game. Through the high-speed S's on Maggots and Beckett's. Then through Chapel. And down the hanger straight for the first time. Leaders haven't broken away. Plebs is putting pressure on ACW, but he's not close enough to attack. Not just yet. All of these guys all pretty damn close to one another as they head into the Vale chicane. The opening lap has been completed and it's been a relatively tidy first lap, but Tinselman, he's doing a bit of rallycross it seems. Bit of lawn mowing as well. As G-Force Zach goes into the pit lane, and Tinselman gets a 10-second time penalty as he hits the barrier at the exit of Club. Probably gave him damage, more than likely. There's G-Force Zach getting front wing change. Obviously damaged on the opening lap. ACW still leads. Plebs still in hot pursuit. Followed by Ferrari Pro in P3, then Pump in P4. A challenge here from BP on Bags Liddell as they head into Luffield. Bags gets demoted down to P6 from that little battle. BP is up to 5th. Around Woodcote onto the old pit straight. Heading towards Cops Corner. Bags, can he try and fight back? Around the famous right-hander. Having to put up with all the dirty air coming off the car in front. Ferrari Pro is right on the gearbox of Plebs here. Through the S's of Maggots and Brackets. Around the left-hand sweeper of Chapel. Onto the hanger straight once again. Ferrari Pro is using up a bit of his battery sitting in the slipstream. As he closes in on the McLaren. Not by enough though. Around the famous Stowe curve. He is still behind Plebs. But at the conclusion of this lap, the conclusion of lap 2, DRS will now be enabled. And this will spice things up here at the front of the field. Pump is losing a bit of ground to the car in front. He needs to stay with the top 3. Can't afford to let that gap increase to over a second. He needs to stay within that range. Around the loop, turn 4. Up towards Aintree. Bags is on the back of BP. I love alliteration. But as all the drivers here have DRS, Bags can't really do anything. It's just sort of stuck. Chip, on the other hand, though, he's overtaking Metz. He's into 12th place. Look at all these guys all in a train, following one another, unable to do a thing. As the top 3 are awfully close. You could throw a blanket over them. They're that close. As Plebs gets a 3-second time penalty. Cutting far too much there at Cops. Ferrari Pro tries to draw alongside, but he's unable to do so. Exiting Beckett's now. Heading around Chapel. Plebs is close. Surely he can make a move on ACW. He's not using any battery though. Ferrari Pro closes in ever so slightly, but not by enough to challenge. Around Stowe, Plebs runs wide. There wasn't a big enough gap for Ferrari Pro to go down the inside, so he stays in 3rd place. As BP goes round the outside of Pump there at turn 16, and he moves himself into 4th place. What a move from the Haas driver. Onto the Hamilton straight for the 4th time. BP sets a new fastest lap of the race, which is rather surprising considering he made a move around the outside of somebody. Around turn 3, Village. Then into turn 4, the loop. Come the leaders. Now around Aintree. Will anyone go for any sort of move? HCW, I think he's got a big enough gap as Chip overtakes Average Only. That was for 11th. Ferrari Pro, he had a little look there as Average Only spins. He's on the infield. He gets it going again, but he's well down. Around Woodcote. Metz sets a new Metz got a 3-second time penalty. That's what the prompt was. Now got a fastest lap. Through Maggots and Beckett's. They're carrying a lot of speed through this S section. Keeping it tidy. Plebs is close. He's very close. Surely he can make a move now. He looks to the inside, heading towards Stowe. Can Ferrari Pro try and follow? The answer is no. Oh, but he's going to... I thought he was going to try and create room on the inside at Stowe, but rather wisely didn't go for any sort of move like that. It could have been quite nasty. Instead, he stays behind in 3rd. Top 4 awfully close, and it's the 2 Mercedes of Pump and Bags in P5 and P6. Then Alex Pato in P7. Silverford is just behind as well in P8. This is your leading train. 8 cars, all in a row. Exiting the loop. Can ACW do something here? It's half a second behind Plebs. I don't think he'll be able to do too much from this position. Closes in, but not by enough. Tell as well that Ferrari Pro's got a fair bit of speed underneath him. He's just sort of stuck, unable to get by. Same with BP. Saw that fairly solid move around the outside at turn 16. He pulled off on pub. See how determined he is. Into Copse corner. See how close Ferrari Pro was there. Here we go. He's trying to draw alongside. Through Maggots and Beckets we go. Oh, it's tight. He's alongside, but he has to fall back. Surely he does. Falls back to third. BP's got to run. Using up a bit of battery. Not enough though. Stays behind Ferrari Pro. Around Stowe we go. Up towards the Vale chicane. BP is close. He's looking, but he doesn't go for a move. So, a lot of pressure on this leading train. A single mistake from any one of these 8 could be very costly. Round turn 2. Into Village, turn 3. Top 8 separated by 2.5 seconds from front to back. Around Aintree. Lovely aerial shot here looking over the racetrack. You can see ACW and Plebs there at the front. BP will come in at the bottom of the shot. There he is. Hello, BP. Oh, as Ferrari Pro gets awfully comfy there with ACW there at Brooklands. Exiting Luffield around Woodcote, heading towards Copse corner. ACW is under a lot of pressure as Ferrari Pro is looking around the long way. Can't get it done there. Oh, but ACW runs wide. Ferrari Pro doesn't get a run though. He stays behind the Alfa Romeo. Incredibly tense fighting between these fellas. As Bags gets a 3-second time penalty. Multiple warnings. Here comes Ferrari Pro. Oh, sorry, BP. He's got a run. But he doesn't have enough straight line speed to challenge Ferrari Pro. Here comes ACW. Looking around the long way. Oh, the race leader. They make wheel-to-wheel contact. Exiting Stowe. Heading towards Vale. BP is awfully close. 2 by 2 they go into Vale. Coming out of it, it's ACW just in front. Plebs tries to fight, but he slots into P2. Through turn 1. Then turn 2. BP has a 3-second time penalty. Yellow flags, that's Keeg. Keeg dude, he's made a mistake. He's on the infield, he's not harming anyone though, so that's okay. BP tries to get a run on Ferrari Pro. He is awfully close to the Ferrari. Plebs making a move on ACW. That's for the race lead once again. BP and Ferrari Pro side by side. Heading around Luffield. Sorry, that's Ferrari Pro and ACW. Now it's Ferrari Pro and BP. As Ferrari Pro sends it down the inside at Luffield. What an opportunistic move from the Haas driver. No, that was my mistake. The Alpha and Haas liveries are fairly similar. As the Haas and Ferrari are side by side at Copse corner. Ultimately, Ferrari Pro gives in and he stays in 4th place. But what a move from BP. He had a big enough gap at the inside of Luffield and he went straight into it. No second questions asked. Went straight for it. Heading up towards Vale. BP looking around the long way, just like he did on pub. Gives him the inside line for 17 and 18. ACW is a bit wide. He's trying to fight back. They make contact just a little bit at Club. Heading down the Hamilton straight into Abbey, turn 1. BP is now into 2nd place. The Haas driver making his charge up through the field. As ACW is under a bit of pressure here from Ferrari Pro. As they're side by side heading around turn 4. Ferrari Pro hangs it around the long way as they go around Aintree, turn 5. He can't keep it there, can Ferrari Pro. He slots back in behind. Where will he look? He looks to the inside, Ferrari Pro. Can he make this stick? He's on the outside for turn 7, which is less than ideal. ACW just forcing him a little bit wide of the racing line. The Alfa Romeo driver hangs on to 3rd place. Black Moon overtaking Powerside as well. We saw that in a little battle between P13 and 14 around Copse corner. Come the leaders. Getting through Maggots into Beckett. Finally, Chapel. Driver, he gets a great run. He's carrying a lot of speed. Not just through the corners, but down the straights as well. Look at him go. Looking the long way round here. Can't get it done though, surely. Try. Certainly does try. Unfortunately for him, he stays in fourth. Matt's overtaking Andre. That was the P11. Exiting club. And heading down the Hamilton Straight for the 9th time. Through Abbey. In turn 2. Into the hairpin of Village. Top 8 still awfully close to one another. Pit strategy is definitely going to play a part in this. Same with the time penalties. Towards the end of the race, as Tinselman gets a penalty down in 19th. As he retires, he's out, he's crashed. That is at the exit of Chapel, and we have a safety car. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is played perfectly for everyone on the soft tyre. They can now hop onto the medium compound tyre and go to the end. Remember that pit window I told you to drill into your head? Lap 11 to 14. We're 2 laps away from that. So everyone's going to pit. Everyone. So this will benefit basically everyone inside the top 10 except for Alex. Because he's on the medium tyre. This was his worst nightmare coming through. Basically. I don't know what Alex can do in this sort of scenario. Does he hop onto the hard tyre? I mean, sure, you have to pit. You have to. You take the pit lane at 60 kilometers an hour. It's one of the longest pit lanes on the calendar. You have to pit. Let them all come in. And Alex, no, he stays out. Silverstone getting a 3-second time penalty. I don't know. Oh, I see a severe collision penalty there for Ferrari Pro. Pump got a 5-second penalty, and Silverfork got a 5-second penalty too. Look, everyone's going to bolt on the mediums. Everyone. Absolutely everyone. Alex at this stage is key. Dude gets a 5-second penalty. That's not bad. Little fella. That's really easy to do, by the way. If someone else stays out, that's power sight. Look, I understand that the hard tyre is a bit rubbish here, but you're now a full pit stop behind everybody. Max and Andre, they pitted onto the hard tyre. I believe those two started on the medium, so they're taking advantage of the safety car, which is what I thought everyone else on the medium tyre would do. But, no. Blackmoon's on the soft. Josh Sandon's on the soft. I don't think they can last 16 laps. And if they can, they'll be very much dead by the end of it. Oh. This has kind of ruined racing a little bit. Everyone's done their necessary stops. Bar the medium runners, of course. Got to fix something up in the stream. This thing has come back. Yeah, Ferrari on top at the moment. Oh, well, he's doing pretty well, I think so. Right, with all that stuff sorted, we can now focus on this. Andre, he's boxed onto a set of soft tyres for some reason. I don't think those soft could make it, surely. enough of the tyre graphic. Let's have a look at the penalty graphic because there are already quite a few penalties. We've got Plebs and BP, they're on 3 seconds each. ACW with none. Ferrari Pro with 5. Now he got that for a severe collision, I'm pretty certain. Let's have a look at Race Director. So you see there, 10-second time penalty for Tinselman. That doesn't matter, he's out. Here they are. So severe collision with Silverstone, severe collision with Pump, severe collision with Pump, and speeding into the pit lane. So 3 of those 5-second penalties are due to quote-unquote severe collisions. Which is infuriating because if there's another well-placed safety car and people decide to pit for the soft tyre, those drivers will have to serve those penalties. So they can't try and get them removed. See there with the position change graphic, the really big one is BP. He has cut his way through the field. He has taken no prisoners with his overtakes. He's been very opportunistic, but very clean. Very on point. BP doing a really great job. And the obvious movement, like Parasite and Alex, they're up quite a few positions because they haven't come in for their pit stop yet. Alex controls the field. He's on 10 lap on mediums and we're waiting for his go. Look at the field. They're actually pretty well spread apart at this point. Everyone's giving each other enough room, which is good. Really good. Coming out to Vale. Alex goes. Round club. Crossing the control line sideways. He begins lap 12 of 26. And here comes Plebs on Parasite down the inside. BP does the same as well at turn 1. So Parasite down 2 positions at the opening corner. Oh, and ACW looking down the inside as well. Looking around the long way at turn 4. Gets the drive. Gets the power down and he's into 4th. Ferrari Pro is the next car. Down towards Brooklands, turn 6. Don't get it done here. Roscoe Armour, 3-second time penalty. Multiple warnings. Exiting left field. Heading towards Woodcove. Silverford trying to make a move on Pump. I saw briefly there. But he's still behind the Mercedes for now. Round Cops. Those fresh tyres. Doing a lot of work at the moment. Ferrari Pro trying to make a move. This might be nasty. They're side by side. And they somehow get through unscathed. Good drivers. Both of them. Around Chapel. Roscoe Arm will try and get by Parasite now. Here we go. Got momentum. Silverford looking around the long way here. Can't get it done at Stowe. Parasite falls to 7th. Now Pump will have to try and get by. Silverford is making it 3 wide. Pump's off the road briefly as Parasite pushed him off. Just ever so briefly. But still Pump hangs on to P7. Silverford, Parasite side by side. Oh, and spin! Spin! He's done to Kevin Magnussen. He spins out. As BP, he crashes into the wall at turn 1. There's a McLaren off the track. It's Plebs. Did these two make contact? Surely not. The 2 drivers fighting at the front have got damage. And they both tumble down the order to 16th and 17th. So a whole heap of drama going on a lap after the restart. We had Parasite being spun out, Kevin Magnussen's side. And Plebs and BP have somehow come together. And they're both in 16th and 17th. Fortunately for both of them, they're still in the race. Meanwhile, Plebs' teammate Alex is enjoying the clear air. He's got a 1.3 second margin to ACW. I thought he was quite sideways there. It certainly looked like it from the camera angle. Pump just cops a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. ACW is 2nd on fresh tyres, followed by Ferrari Pro. Roscoe Arm in 4th. Pump 46 in 5th. Silverford still fighting with the Mercedes driver in 6th. I remember the last time a Red Bull and Mercedes fought around here. Didn't end particularly well. Hopefully, it'll end a lot better than the other two from the real-life race. Bags in 7th. Chip in 8th. G4 Zach and Metz are battling through the Vale chicane. Metz is on the hard tyre. He'll find it difficult to fight. Certainly trying though. Oh, there's a bit of a wiggle there from King as he rejoins the racetrack. Oh, this game is giving me some horrible camera angles to work with. Come on. For some reason, some of the outboard shots are just horrendous on this game. Cody's need to work on it. Keegan's trying to fight him. Gets a 3-second time penalty for running too wide at turn 5. He's looking down the inside into turn 6. They're side by side. Heading into Luffield, turn 7. Average only is forced wide, so he slots into 13th place. Well, Metz at the front of this train. He's trying to catch G4 Zach. There he is there, the Red Bull driver. On the old pit straight heading around Copse Corner. Then come the train of 4 cars just behind. Average only a 3-second time penalty running wide, I assume, at Copse Corner. Silverfoot has DRS. He's closing in on Pump. Heading towards Stowe. He should get him easily, and does get him easily. He's into P5. Exiting Stowe down towards Vale. There's not much Pump can do at the moment. Just got to be patient at this point. Lap 15 of 26, ACW sets a new fastest lap. So that's beaten by Silverford with a 29th lap. ACW though, he'll have DRS. He'll close in on Alex at a rate of knots. There's really not much Alex can do. Onto the Wellington Straight. Down towards Brooklands. The gap shrinks to under 3/10. Under 2.5 tenths, under 2 tenths, but ACW doesn't close in by enough to overtake. Around Luffield, turn 7, as Andre gets a 3-second time penalty. Keeg overtakes Metz. That was for 11th place. Around Woodcote, heading towards Copse Corner. ACW still chipping away at the gap. Around the famous turn 9, using all the curb necessary. Towards the infamous Maggots and Beckett's S's. They chuck it in high speed. They progressively bring the speed down as they progress through the S's. Exiting Chapel at full throttle. ACW has DRS wide open. He's sitting in the slipstream. Really not much Alex can do in this sort of scenario other than hope and pray. Because he has to make a pit stop and he's going to lose a lot of time when he makes that stop. Obviously he's going to try and survive for as long as he can on those mediums, but eventually he will have to pit. Roscoe behind Ferrari Pro, who has been unable to catch ACW. Shows you what the power of DRS is like. Bit of a gap to Silverfort and the 2 Mercedes-Benzes in P6 and 7. The battle going on between Chip and Black Moon, separated by 6/10. These two are fairly close together as well, G4 Stack and Keeg G. Train of 3 between Metz, Average Only, and NZ Andre in P14. Lovely aerial shot once again. And we'll have to look away for now. Poor BP at the back right. He just has to hang in there and hope. That's all he can do. Around Copse Corner. You can imagine the sheer amount of load that the driver has to put up with through these high-speed corners. It'd just be insane. BP sets a new fastest lap. Not only that, but also the sheer load that the tyre has to put up with. The stresses and strains of tackling these corners. As ACW sends it down the inside at Stowe, and he gets it done. He is into the lead. Alex can't really fight back. He just doesn't have the grip to try and fight back. All he can do is try and follow ACW as close as he can, try and maximize this stint on the mediums. Because by not pitting under that safety car, he is massively on the back foot. He's basically relying on luck at this stage, praying that there will be another safety car that will help him out. Exiting Aintree down the Wellington Straight, ACW got a clear track in front. Alex has DRS, so be able to set some pretty quick times as Pump gets by Silverfort. at Brooklands. The Mercedes driver is into 5th place, but this battle is anything but over. They're awfully close, these three. Still got a few laps until the checkered as well, so they're genuinely battling on track. We'll see how penalties play effect later on in the race. Exiting Copse Corner. Heading around Maggots and Beckett's, we have a yellow flag, it's Metz. He's had a moment, he's on the gravel now. Gets off it, it's going again. Here comes Power Sight. Drives past the Alpine. There he goes. Through the Vale chicane. It's ACW in the lead. Followed by Alex Pato. Ferrari Pro in 3rd. Roscoe Arm in 4th. It's a 2-second gap back to Pump 46 in 5th. Silverfort in P6. Followed by Bags in 7th. Chip 4 seconds back in 8th. A lot of work to do. Black Moon in 9th. Keeping the Williams driver a bit of company. And it's G-Force Zach that rounds out the top 10 as Powerside goes into the pit lane. Silverfort won't be close enough to attack Pump at this stage. You have to let the race unfold a little bit. We'll see these three start battling once more. Exiting left field around Woodcote, the gap between Silverfort and Pump is 4/10 of a second. So long as he can get a good run through Copse in the following S section, he should be able to get by Pump here. So as I said, you need a good run through Maggots and Beckett's, which isn't easy. Especially when you're sucking up all the dirty air coming off the car in front. But Silverfort gets a superb run out to Chapel. He should get Pump with relative ease. In fact, I think Bags might have a go as well. Looking around the long way on the racing line. The Mercedes cars are side by side. Exiting Stowe. They're still side by... Oh, they make wheel-to-wheel contact. That was a tad bit nasty. Into Vale. Bags gets in front. And he keeps P6. Pledge is up into 12th place as well. Trying to recover as best he can. Around turn 2, into the hairpin of turn 3. Not quite close enough. Try and fight here. You can see a bit of carpet being laid out of the braking zone at turn 4. Driver's locking up into the corner. Bags can't get it done at Brooklands. Beautiful Zach is close, but no cigar for the Red Bull driver. He's still behind Black Moon. Bags working away now at Silverfort. There's Roscoe Arm and Ferrari Pro just briefly in camera shot. Silverfort, for some reason, moved off the racing line and in turn cost himself a lot of time. Relatively close between Silverfort and Bags there. See the rotation the Red Bull's getting. Through the S's, it's insane rotation. The car just points its nose in and the back just follows. Not that it matters though to Bags. He just powers past with DRS and Pump will do the same. Down the inside at Stowe, they're side by side. Pump forces the issue and he gets through into P6. Roscoe Arm with a Schumacher style helmet, I think there. Red and black, rather a distinguishable design. There's the eSports helmet on Ferrari Pro's car. We've got a Devin Butler style helmet. It's not quite Devin Butler though, it's something else. I'm quite sure. And then we've got ACW. I know that helmet, I just don't remember what it's called. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Actually, that reminds me of something, a brief story. I was watching some old F1 footage from like 2017. Man, they had better helmets back then. The helmets looked so much cooler back then. Well, of course, nowadays these helmets have sponsors that you can put on them, but the designs back then, they were mint. Really mint designs. It's a pity to see how much that's changed. closes in, but he won't be doing too much. Sector 2, yellow flags. That is Kidu on 14th. Rejoins. No safety car from that, obviously. As Black Moon looks down the inside and successfully makes the move on chip third. Moves into P8. Oh. I really don't know what Alex can do. It's just the unfortunate situation that Alex is in. He's basically relying on luck. He's not relying on him just out driving everybody. He's just relying on luck. On some sort of safety car at some point. And with 5.5 laps to go, it just seems so incredibly unlikely that we'll see a safety car, but you never know. And Alex has to pit at some point. If there isn't a safety car, well, it's not going to be the greatest day in the office for Alex, even after driving so well on these mediums. I mean, to be on 10 lap older mediums and still have this pace, credit to the Italian, he's driving very well, but unfortunately, just because luck didn't exactly fall in his favour, yeah, he has to pit. There we go. He just has to pit. So he'll be bolting on the soft tyre. And he'll go to the end. So ACW's got a clear track in front. Ferrari Pro in second. Roscoe Arm here in third. The penalties will now become a much bigger issue. See Ferrari Pro there with 5 seconds next to his name. He got that from a severe collision penalty, so there's a fair chance he can get that removed. That was entering the pits, but anyone who's watching this still, any driver that is, something that the race spec race director put out in the Discord, you need to correctly save your race director after each race. It's not the race director, it's the head steward, the race spec head steward. Something important that you really do need to do. If you want penalties to be removed, you need to properly record the race steward. That came from the race spec head steward. Really, really important. Silverstone closing in the slipstream. Can't do much though. And even if he manages to get by both of them, he's got 11 seconds worth of penalties next to his name. So his fight in this is basically null and void before it's even ended. Pledge has overtaken G4 Zach as well, so he's into P9. Roscoe Arm now gets another time penalty, increasing his tally to 6 seconds. Pledge now working away at Chip as they head down the Hamilton straight. Through Abbey. Turn 2. G4 Zach goes into the pit lane. Down the inside goes Plebs. Chip leaves him room, he gets it done. Round turn 4. Next target is Black Moon. DRS and closes in on the Aston Martin. The interval has disappeared because Metz briefly left the session. He's just rejoined, back in his car. Hopefully we don't get a timing error on his end. Exiting Luffield. Hold the curve on the exit. He sits in the slipstream, heading towards Cops. There's Chip just behind. Oh, a bit of understeer there from Black Moon's Aston Martin. Front end really not cooperating there. Nuggets, then Beckett's. Into Chapel. It should be a fairly simple overtake here. Not much Black Moon can do, unfortunately. Levs moves into P7. Alex gets a 3-second time penalty just to rub a bit of extra salt into the wound. He's in 13th place, by the way, so he is still set to score something at this stage. Roscoe, I think he's going to stay in this position even at the end of the race. I don't think he wants to battle Ferrari Pro too much. He wants to secure a double podium for Alfa Romeo, which will extend their lead massively in the Constructors. Mercedes-Benz putting on a good show as well in P4 and P5, and they're set to finish there as well. They do have pressure from the Red Bull or Silverstone, but the Singaporean driver has 11 seconds worth of pens, so yeah, like I said, his battle with them is basically null and void at this point. ACW just minding his own business out in front. 1.5 seconds is the margin. He doesn't have to worry too much. A Ferrari Pro behind. Does have that 5 seconds worth of penalties, although he can try and get them removed, so perhaps the battle between Ferrari Pro and ACW is more legitimate than it may seem. 2 laps to go here at Silverstone. The gap increases to 1.7 seconds. These three are still having at it. Still battling. Coming around turn 2 into turn 3. These three, they're very, very close. What will they do? Bags will have DRS. Will he try and get by Pump, or will he stay behind? Oh, he won't get by. He's not close enough. No way he's close enough. As ACW has made a mistake. You are kidding. He had this win in the bag. He has just thrown it away. He's made a mistake at Luffield. He's in the gravel. And he's still spinning out. He's probably furious with himself, which is why he's doing this. That's it. He's just lost the win like that. How do you make a mistake at Brooklands and Luffield like that? How has he done that? Well, suddenly Roscoe's going to get a shot of adrenaline because he now has to pick up where his teammate left off. On the final lap, we'll have a battle for the lead, folks. Less than a second separate these two. And 1 second separates them in penalties, and we have 1 lap to go. Ferrari Pro, he's probably got a shot of adrenaline as well. He's just been gifted the lead out of nowhere. Roscoe, he's now got the job trying to get by Ferrari Pro as best he can. He's a bit too far behind to try and challenge into Brooklands. He closes the gap to under 3/10 as they head through turn 6. Roscoe, he needs a hell of a run through the middle sector to try and take the lead away from Ferrari Pro. He's been stuck behind the Ferrari for some time. Can he find that magical run to try and get by? He's got enough battery. Ferrari Pro doesn't have a great deal as they head through Cops Corner for the final time. See there, Roscoe just using a little bit. 3/10 separate the two. There's a flashing light. You can see Ferrari Pro is low. Exiting Beckett's around Chapel. He'll open DRS and close in on Ferrari Pro. And there's not much the Ferrari driver can do. Roscoe takes the lead. Can he build up that 1 second margin? I find it doubtful, but we'll find out at the line. The intervals have disappeared, so we won't find out who wins it until they cross the finish line. Through the chicane they go. Around Club Corner, Roscoe crosses the line in first place, but the winner today will be Ferrari Pro by 0.4 of a second. Pump will complete the podium in third, Silverfort in fourth, Bags in fifth. I don't think that's correct. I don't think that's correct at all. His time is not showing up. I think Bags, there we go, that's correct. He's now finished on the podium in third. That's correct. That's where he should finish. Because he only had 3 seconds worth of penalties compared to Pump, who had 8. Though Pump can try and get his 5 seconds removed. Silverfoot P5, Plebs P6, Black Moon in 7th, Chip in 8th, Pato in 9th, Andre rounds out the top 10, average only, then Keeg Duke in P12, ACW 13th. What happened? Too busy looking at the battle for second, and then not for second, for fourth, and ACW was off the circuit completely. I don't know. Zach in 14th, Josh Sambin in 15th, Powersight in 16th, and we'll have BP and Metz as our final two finishes. Unbelievable scenes. Ferrari Pro has gone back-to-back. Montreal and Silverstone. And I reckon that will put Ferrari Pro at the top of the Drivers' Championship after this round as well. He's only 16 points behind ACW, so yeah, that will vault him up into the lead. Fairly nice recovery from Plebs as well to finish P6 after some sort of collision with this man on screen, BP. Really unfortunate for BP. He had a stonking race initially. He had an absolutely stonking race, but yeah, an incident at turn 1 that I didn't capture ultimately resulted in BP finishing in 17th. We'll be waiting on Metz for some time, it seems. There we are. Ferrari Pro given the win on an Alfa Romeo platter. Oh, I see. ACW's pedals broke. There we are. So ACW had some sort of technical failure with his pedal box. I was going to say, how on earth do you lose it at Luffield? Well, that certainly explains it. I'm sure Ferrari Pro cannot believe this result. Roscoe Arm in second. And Pump completing the podium. Oh, sorry, not Pump. Bags completing the podium in third. There we are. An unbelievable finish. That's the only way I can simply describe it. Ferrari Pro wins. With Roscoe Arm in a fine second. Bags in third. Pump in fourth. Silver fourth and fifth. Plebs recovers to sixth. Driver of the day, Black Moon, started from 17th, finishes 7th. What an effort from the Aston Martin driver. Chip in 8th, Pato in 9th. And Average only rounds out the top 10. To think Alex finished inside the top 10 after pitting so late. Incredible effort. Keith Dugan in 11th, ACW in 12th. Giffel Zach in 13th, Andre in 14th, though he's been incorrectly given 23 seconds worth of penalties, so he'll get that removed. Josh Sambin in 15th, Powerside in 16th, BP in 17th, and Metz in 18th place. Our only retirement was Tinselman after crashing out at Chapel at the end of the race. Oh. How about that? Now, chat. Typically I do interviews after this, but this race has been going on for 2 hours. This has been a long stream. It's been a very long stream. And I don't particularly feel like doing interviews. After all the... I want to use colourful language, but I won't. After all that, I think it's about time we ended it. 2-hour long stream is about 40 minutes too long. So, I just want to call it a night. We'll do interviews next week when we have a nice, clean, succinct session where we have qualifying in a race. But after 2 hours, I'm knackered. And frustrated.
Perhaps the most famous...
Well, oopsie, wrong button. Oh, that was long. Sorry, Bags, the stream's been going on for 2 hours. I would like to have a shower and I would like to have some dinner, so I'll pick it up next week. So, everything out of the way, we can finally end the stream. Tune in throughout the week as there's still plenty of racing to come here on Race Spec, but for Pacific Elite, we'll have to wait until next week. Until then, I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you for round 5 of the championship at Circuit Paul Ricard for the French Grand Prix. Hopefully everything will run smoothly next time. But until then, it's goodbye.